you feeling like everyone else, or at least some of the other people are lesser than you anyways, and aren't in a position to question what you do in the first place. As history is being rewritten in real time, and people are too afraid of being called names to even point it out. Mention the just woke up. There's something fishy with the Paul Pelosi story. So Jimmy Dore talked about it. Let me play some of this.
Story about Paul Pelosi and NBC put out this report. The spoiler alert, they fired this guy, but suspended him. But watch this. So watch the report. So remember, there was all these conflicting reports about what happened with Paul Pelosi. And then they said they have some information that contradicted the police report. Watch this.
Craig, good morning. When officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today, they initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear, what was happening inside the property just behind me.
This morning, Paul Pelosi is home, back at the house that became a crime scene a week ago today.
First of all, I want to back this. So if you break into the house, why is all the glass on the outside? That's the first question that people have. Why is all the glass on the... If I'm hitting a window, I've broken windows, by the way. I've broken windows of my neighbors. So you break their window, it all goes inside. It doesn't come outside. So that's right away suspicious. But here we go.
It kind of looks like a lubed hammer flew out of your hand. No, I'm not an investigative journalist.
A week ago today, NBC News learning new details about the moment police arrived. Details. Sources familiar with what unfolded in the Pelosi.
I love the way the guy talks, how reporters talk. The new details about what happened. It's so fucking amazing.
Is that the same guy?
Yes.
He has a completely different voice than his opening voice.
Right? I know.
The residents now revealing when officers responded to the high priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House.
What?
Let's say they weren't aware. That must have been the craziest call. You're like, wait,
is this the third most powerful person in the fucking world?
Hey, stop hitting him with that hammer,
What'd you say? These guys are killing me with this.
I know it's crazy, but at the same time, when it first happened, they said that the police officer that showed up was somebody who already knew them.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say because he was in the house already.
They already not the suspect, the police officer. Because what that too, they're saying that guy was known too. But the police officer that just so happened to show up over there was somebody who knew them too.
Well, that's not surprising. It's going to be the same.
No, I mean, it's not surprising, but it's still somewhat suspicious to everybody. Like, this is the person who ends up showing up, and then the person that they're saying that's here, like, they've been knowing him for however long. Like,
That part don't sound suspicious to me because it's going to be a small little area. It's going to the same cops. They know, of course, they're going to know them because it's Paul Pelosi, bro. Like, he's the wife of the husband of the third most powerful person in the United States. And he patrols that neighborhood, of course, he's going to know the guy.
But okay, he knows the guy. The guy knocks on the door with a hammer in his hand to knock the dude out, or like Paul is not like, what the hell does this person want? Like, is he the one that really answers the door? I mean, all right, maybe they do live more of a normal everyday life. So, okay, he opens the door. He just opens the door, or does he check to see who it is? Like, bro,
they're gonna talk. They're gonna talk about that because the guy was apparently in the house already, actually.
After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or tried to leave his home.
So that's big news. So that was the big part of the news they didn't want out. That when the cops came, Paul Pelosi didn't go, "Thank God you're here, save me." He just went, "How you doing? Come on."
I'm gonna take it back because this video clip that he's playing got pulled down, and the person who did it got suspended. So nobody saw this. Well, unless they saw it, but it got pulled down. So this is not what they reporting. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it back because this guy got in trouble for doing this news story.
Now revealing when officers responded to the high priority call, they were seemingly unaware they'd been called to the home of the Speaker of the House.
What?
Let's say they weren't aware. That must have been the craziest call. You're like, wait,
is this
what?
Is this the third most powerful person in the fucking world?
Hey, stop hitting him with that hammer,
After a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or tried to leave his home.
So that's big news. So that was the big part of the news they didn't want out. That when the cops came, Paul Pelosi didn't go, "Thank God you're here, save me." He just went, "How you doing? Come on in."
But instead began walking several feet back into the foyer toward the assailant and away from police. It's unclear if the 82-year-old was already injured or what his mental state was, say sources. According to court documents, when the officer asked what was going on, defendant smiled and said everything's good. But instantaneously, a struggle ensued as police clearly saw David DePape strike Paul Pelosi in the head with a hammer. After tackling the suspect, officers rushed to Mr. Pelosi, who was lying in a pool of blood.
What we do know is he brutally attacked Mr. Pelosi and attempted to kill him.
Yeah, we all know that part.
And wasn't shot immediately like anybody else?
Right? Why didn't you guys shoot him right away? Anyway.
After spending several days in the ICU, Pelosi...
When he gets attacked...
Yeah,
when the actual attack, the cop is already there watching it.
Yeah, that was the initial story. The initial news story said that.
See, that's new to me because I thought that when the cops got there, that's like this is something that he was supposed to have been attacked already. But okay, I'm listening.
That's how they do them fucking news stories. It'd be confusing because of the way that they tell it.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This sounds like somebody they know more about what really happened now. But when it first happened, I'm like that.
Well, no, that's the reason why Jimmy is covering this is because the news story. Because I covered this right away, and they said that the cops showed up and they saw Paul Pelosi and some guy struggling with a hammer, and the other guy hit him with the hammer, and that's what they said. So I mean that's true, but it's leaving out a huge part of it where they was in the house and all of this that they're saying in this news story, which got pulled down right away, right after they reported it, and the guy got suspended who did this.
Yeah, because I mean, my thing is, he called the cop. He know this guy is in the house or whatever. This guy that there's some sort of struggle or argument or something's going on. But when the cop gets there, then that's when this guy decides, all right, you know what, I'm gonna go on and bust him over the top of his head, and it just like, and
that's
no,
what this story is saying.
but in between it all, whatever has happened, he knows this guy's in the house, but he's like, oh, let me go answer the door. Hold on, we'll start fighting again as soon as I open the door. Like,
no, it's like the other guy probably who knows what they had going on. Who the hell knows what the hell they had going on? The other guy obviously didn't give a damn about the cops being there. Whatever the situation, he was pissed or whatever the hell it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know how it be. This sounds domestic. This sounds like Friends. This sounds like they're making jokes about it being sexual, like these dudes were fuck buddies or something. Like something.
I heard that, but I mean, if it is okay, but don't see that the problem I have with that is that they're trying to make it like it's some kind of political stuff, and then trying to make it seem like it's the first implication that Joe Biden makes is that it's mega. That's
apparently it's clearly more complex than that. Clearly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, this is going down, but don't now you're trying to turn something and more political than what it really was. Like, look, y'all got some strange things going on over at your house. You didn't want it to come out, so now, but you got to taint a whole section of our, a whole segment of our country to try to divert whatever was really going on at your house. If y'all got freaky parties going on, that's y'all. Like, don't nobody care about that. You know what I'm saying? Is your husband okay? He cool? All right, let's move on. But that's when you start pissing people off, when you're trying to implement other people who have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, let me play some more.
Who is recovering from a fractured skull and serious injuries to his arm and hand, is now home, where Capitol Police remain on alert. Investigators have previously said Pelosi did not know DePape when the 42-year-old broke into his home. Why Pelosi didn't try to flee or tell responding officers he was in distress is unclear.
Fear takes over. Fear freezes people.
This morning, the 82-year-old, lucky to be alive after an intruder nearly killed him in his own home.
Law enforcement officials tell us the bottom line here is this was a terrifying situation. We still don't know exactly what unfolded between Mr. Pelosi and the suspect for the 30 minutes they were alone inside that house before police arrived. Officials who were investigating this matter would not go into further details about these new details.
So they were alone 30 minutes in the house. Cops show up. So by the way, so we know all this. I thought we covered this already, but apparently I can't find the video.
Oh,
on our channel. I can't find it. I don't know if it's kind of spooky.
You better pray for Paul Pelosi. He goes hit with the hammer.
What's the word she says all the time?
Lure, I pass a lure.
Allure. Yeah. How does she say it?
Allure.
Allure.
You gotta clench your teeth.
So guess what? They fired this guy for doing that report.
Suspended.
I mean, they suspended him. NBC News reporter Miguel Almaguer suspended. God. So they took that. First of all, the story went up. Then they immediately took it down. And they wouldn't say why. They wouldn't say what they got wrong or what he said was wrong. They just said it didn't meet our standards. They have no standards. And you don't get in trouble for lying in corporate news. You only get in trouble for telling the truth. And so they immediately took it down, and then they suspended him. And why did they suspend him? Because according to them, somebody was spreading misinformation about Paul Pelosi. You better pray for Paul Pelosi, pal. Now say it 12 times fast and rub lube all over your hammer, if you know what I mean. And you better not know what I mean, or you're fired.
Like a rosary.
So that guy does that report. The report contradicted court documents filed in DePape's case that said Pelosi nervously but calmly greeted officers in a dimly lit foyer where both men stood. It was later taken down with the explanation the piece should not have aired because it did not meet NBC News reporting standards. Did I miss how that contradicted the court documents, by the way?
What?
How does that contradict it says Paul calmly but nervously greeted of officers, not nervously and calmly. And how the fuck does one nervously but calmly do anything? It's like saying Paul Pelosi's dick was floppily rock hard. You can't. Okay. We don't comment. So then in NBC News, where they're asking, well, why are you suspending the guy? They go, we don't comment on personnel matters. Yeah, but you didn't comment on why you took down the goddamn thing in the first place. I mean, so there's more to it.
What I don't understand the contradiction in the police. Whether did he leave out the part that the guy's a huge Jimmy Dore fan?
No, maybe the contradiction was that Paul Pelosi answered the door. Mm-hmm. Maybe in the police report it said that a third person, because that was the original story, was that a third person answered the door.
Right. Yeah,
it said so on the NBC. It said on the NBC clip that they found him in a pool of blood.
A pool of blood. So the cops are there. He's not bleeding. 2 seconds later, he's in a pool of blood. Doesn't it take a while for a pool of blood to amass?
Where do they call him in from Uvalde for this non-action?
Right. Is it so? That was weird. So they show up. He's not bleeding. And then when the cops actually save him, he's in a pool of blood already. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, the guy,
You know what
hit him
else
in
doesn't
front of
make
cops.
sense?
Go ahead, Jen.
How did David DePappy end up in the hospital? No one's asking that question.
No one asks that question. No one has an interview of any of it, and nobody involved. Nobody has an interview of the cops. Nobody has an interview of Paul Pelosi. Nobody has an interview of DePappy.
No.
It's just so. It could be literally. Look,
You know, it's strange. And that part where they said that DePappy went to the hospital, I hadn't heard that. This is my first time hearing it from Jimmy Dore. And I have my ear to the streets. I freaking, I'll be on this shit. So I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it felt weird, and like I said, I mean, to me, it's like, what proof? Like, what's like? Unless y'all gonna really tell all the details of what's going on, because I mean, like that's the only way we're gonna really know if this person was connected to a group or whatever. Because I mean, if he coming there on his own reconnaissance, like he coming there to handle some business that he got directly with them, or even if he just he dealing with some mental health issues, whatever it is, like let's be honest about it. You know what I'm saying?
But they said no, we can't comment on personal matters.
Okay, so if it's personal matters, you shut the hell up and don't be trying to lead the conversation or the people's minds to somewhere else, especially when we know we got a bunch of sheep.
We'll never fucking know what the hell happened really in that situation. And that's what the bottom line is. And that just shows where we are as a country or as a nation or as citizens or whatever. We don't know shit. They lying to us left and right about everything. And it's like the media twists things with the headlines and they give you little tidbits and little bits of stuff. And then we're trying to decipher this shit and figure out what the hell is going on when they could just tell it in the story and just fucking let it all out there. Like if Paul Pelosi had a gay boyfriend or some shit and the dude was mad about some shit and he was a hater of Nancy Pelosi, I mean, I don't think that would be. I'm just totally just throwing that against the wall, by the way, y'all. But I don't think that would be like earth shattering. Like what difference is that going to make in anything?
It's nothing for us to
vote for Nancy Pelosi, or she would no longer be
no
Speaker of the House or something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, if it's something personal like that, that should not matter to anybody.
It's
like,
not. Most people are gonna be like, "What the fuck ever, man." Like that. If whatever.
Yeah.
If they like her or don't like her, that's not gonna change that.
Yeah, like I mean, if you want to try to throw that in her face, like she probably knows already anyway, and like she don't give a shit, and we shouldn't give a shit. The main thing is, okay, some elderly person got hurt in their home. It just so happened to be, Speaker of the House husband. All right, everybody, let's pray for him and hope he gets better soon, and let's move on with life. But no, like I said, my problem,
things going on.
My problem, my problem was that they try to make it like, okay, this is another J6 situation that's happening, and now this is something that everybody needs to be concerned about.
Right. So, but then that's how they make money, and that's how they make clicks. So it's the fucking capitalism driving these, media outlets to make these stories in this way, so that it can cause like controversy or cause like conspiracy or people just trying to figure this shit out, and then they're getting clicks, and that's what the fuck they want, and that's why they do that.
One of the questions we always got to ask ourselves when this type of stuff is happening is, what the hell did they do behind our back while we was paying attention to this bullshit?
OMG. For real. That is it. For real, because all of these news stories are they're all distractions, especially this, because just like what you were saying, I think most people don't really give a shit one way or the other. They do care about what Nancy Pelosi is pushing as far as policies and legislation. They do care about that, and that's what they want to hear about. But nope, they're not gonna hear about that. They're gonna hear about what the fuck happened with Paul Pelosi. with his booty buddy and a lubed up hammer.
No, that's crazy, bro. Like
that.
These people insane, man. Like, but yeah, bro. Like this like stuff like this is the stuff that irritates the hell out of me, is because like it takes us going, over the was it over the river through the woods before we can get to anything solid. Like we got to go through all these back and forths. This happened, that happened. Let me hear it again. Say that again. What happened? About like, and then it's just like when you really get to the end of it, it's like, okay, so why am I? How is this a news story? What made this a big news, like a national news? Like,
it shouldn't have been a story. It shouldn't have been a story. Well, other than him getting, he got put in a hospital, so he almost died. But as far as them making it like as big of a story as it was, is like fucking global. Yeah. Just woke up. Mad interesting to me. I was about to go to sleep and this just woke me up. I bet you they was watching this shit in other countries and around the world.
But that's
it says Multiverse Mania. It's the movie trope.